Adventure Time's finale, Come Along With Me, aired earlier this year, and it seems to be a fan favourite among the community. All over the internet, you'll find people mourning the death of one of the best cartoons in recent years. But honestly, this show's finale was a big disappointment. To me, at least. Everyone else seems to love this episode, because it's just so sad at the end, where they sing the song, and cartoons will never be the same. Oh, nostalgia is a powerful drug, as an Adventure Time-shaped hole, my Adventure Time-shaped heart! Okay, so obviously it's hard to tackle this topic without dealing with spoilers. If you want to watch this spoiler-free, then remember this. If there's a major spoiler coming up, I'll play this video with a timestamp telling you where to skip to if you want to avoid the spoiler. If you're fine with spoilers, just ignore it. This finale just doesn't do the show justice. There is so much to the astounding land of Ooh that having a finale like this is an insult to every other episode. In fact, there's only 3 things I can think of that make this a suitable finale. 1. It's the last episode of the series. 2. I lied, that's basically the only thing that makes this a suitable finale. Wow, Synthi, you're really tearing into this, but why is it so bad? Well, I'll tell you why, my viewer. First off, I want to talk about why this fails as a finale, but before I can do that, we have to figure out something else. What makes a good finale? Well, I've narrowed it down to a couple of things. 1. The stakes have to be higher than they ever were before in the series, and 2, there has to be a feeling among the viewers that the show cannot naturally progress because of the finale's events. That's the criteria of what makes a series finale a finale. But does Come Along With Me follow this criteria? Well, no. Not at all. Let's have a look. The first point is that the stakes have to be higher than they've ever been before in the series. For example, let's have a look at the finale of another show, the show in question being Gravity Falls. The series finale, Weirdmageddon, seems absolutely gargantuan within the realm of the show, because it's not only being hinted at since the show's beginning, but because the villain in question, Bill Cipher, had been heavily referenced in Season 2 to make it clear that he wasn't just an ordinary villain. We get to see many of his evil actions, mainly in the final episodes, involving possessing people, making them go insane, or doing that thing? Come Along With Me's main villain is Gulb, a character that has hardly appeared in the series at all, other than a few minor references here and there, and appearing in this psychedelic dream sequence in Pahoy. Gulb has had hardly any foreshadowing, and therefore it appears seemingly out of nowhere in Come Along With Me. I'm sorry, but for a villain on such a massive scale, there needs to be some more foreshadowing in place so we can understand the character, and realize how evil it truly is. I'm sure Gulb is a very malevolent character, but because we've hardly seen any of its evil deeds, it's hard to be intimidated by it. The second point is that the show needs to feel like it can't continue naturally, and this is where the episode really fails. Again, let's look at a different show's finale. Regular Show ended last year. In the finale, the main cast is flung into outer space, and while this is happening, they learn that Pops is the chosen one to kill Anti-Pops and save the universe. A long battle ensues, and it ends with Pops sacrificing his life to kill Anti-Pops. It would be extremely difficult to continue Regular Show without Pops being present, as he was there since the very first episode. This creates a sense of conclusion, and that even if the show did continue, it wouldn't be the same, because thanks to the events of the finale, Pops is gone, and all the other characters have changed and evolved. Does Adventure Time do this? Somewhat? Fern dies in this episode. Ice King is reverted back to Simon, and Betty gets fused with Gulb so she can keep Simon safe, which I feel is similar to the way Steven from Steven Universe is actually Rose Quartz, because of her giving up her gem to Steven, or something. I never really understood that. So that's 2 characters basically gone from the show, and 1 changed in some way, and this doesn't work. Fern and Betty weren't essential to the show. It took 5 seasons before Betty actually started affecting some of the episodes, and 8 for Fern. Not just that, this is a direct quote from the episode.
That's the end.
I thought this story was about the end of Ooh.
Pretty much.
But what happened to Phil and Jake after that?
Or Princess Bubblegum?
Hey, you know, they kept living their lives.
Did you even try at all here? And lastly, the show is coming back in comics. That's right, it literally refuses to stay dead. So with all this aside, is Come Along With Me at least a good episode?
You know,
Children's television show, a bigger time slot.
Is a little like the mule with a spinning wheel. No one knows how he got it, and danged if he knows how to use it.
This episode is longer than most of the others, being 34 minutes longer than the average episode, which is kind of funny, considering I feel like they tried to sneakily put 11 minutes of content into a 45-minute episode. Why do I say this exactly? I say it because the opening is basically filler. The episode starts off by showing us two characters named Shermie and Beth who find Finn's robot arm and decide to go see the King of Ooh, who is BMO apparently for some reason. BMO sees the arm and tells a story about the Great Gum War, and then we cut back to present day. Then some stuff follows which is so boring I don't even want to describe it. Please can we just... If you thought it would just end there, then you're sadly mistaken, because that miserably boring part of the episode is just filler and means nothing. Be thankful I skipped over it, because that literally lasts for half the entire episode. Wait, what's that thing?
Gulb!
Gulb!
Look,
Oh,
Betty,
what a classic character. I
keep
know
seeing
who he
reference
is.
to this
He's Gulb.
mysterious
Wait, it's Gulb
entity
he?
that embodies chaos.
It's Gulb.
That's great. Come on, let's make Sundays.
Gulb would say ice cream is without meaning.
Then after they include the obligatory scene where they awkwardly introduce this random character, they have this scene where they shove in some awkward jokes so the audience doesn't get scared, I guess.
Okay, I'm not an expert, but this seems bad.
You ain't kidding, Shrubs.
It just keeps on going. Then we have some more scenes where all the residents of Ooh pathetically try to take down this monster, and none of those scenes amount to anything. At all. Finn, Betty, and Simon get swallowed by Gulb and it starts digesting them by turning them back into their most essential forms. Because reason. Then the treehouse gets destroyed by one of Gulb's minions and BMO starts singing. Lol, wait. The singing stops the monsters apparently? Okay. By the power of harmony! So in case you couldn't tell by that high budget action, they sing to kill the things, and everybody knows the song somehow, despite this being the first time they've heard it. I don't know, I've got to have a happy ending somehow, right? Then after that, the Ice Crown, for some reason, now has the ability to grant wishes, and Betty wishes for the power for Simon to be safe. Then she fuses with Gulb, Simon breaks down, and then we get to see a deleted scene from Infinity War. Finn plants Fern at the side of the destroyed treehouse, and he grows into a tree with a sword grown into it. Then after that, this whole thing, I must have missed something because I have no clue what that thing is, starts singing Come Along With Me, as we see a montage of the characters. Cut back to Shermie and Beth, and the episode ends with them finding Fern's tree. I'm so tired, I've just got to shut my eyes for a moment, see you in a bit. Generally, this entire episode was just nothing to me. I didn't really get any emotional resonance out of any of it, other than when Simon starts hysterically crying when he realizes Betty's fate. I feel like the episode is lying to itself about its identity. It's trying to convince itself that it's an epic finale with tons of dark and emotional moments, but it can't take itself too seriously, so it awkwardly shoves in jokes that don't mean anything. It's trying to convince itself that to make the episode complete, it needs to be 45 minutes. Yeah, it's a lot of filler content. Is this really the same show to give us episodes like Simon and Marcy? That episode was dark and sad, and the jokes were subtle enough so they don't ruin the narrative style of the episode. Did that all in 11 minutes, too. Another complaint I have is the lack of interesting locations. There are endless places to go to in the land of Ooh, and this episode just takes place in some nondescript crater for a whole 45 minutes. It's just more lost potential. I thought that the Shermie and Beth intro was a good way to raise anticipation, kind of like how regular show's finale mirrored the first episode. You and I Will Always Be Back Then is a good song that fits the episode. Changing the animation style as Gulb fused with Betty is a nice, unique touch. Simon breaking down at the end was pretty emotional. The bubbling ship was pretty well implemented, I thought. Sadly, I feel like the bad definitely outweighs the good here. I didn't like the Adventure Time finale. Feel free to watch it, but don't expect a consistent tone, a lack of filler content, or any closure at all really. There are a few good parts here and there, but that doesn't save this episode in the long run. As I'm writing this, I realize I forgot a part where Lemongrab and Lumpy Space Princess kiss, and it's so bad that I don't even want to talk about it. Thanks for ruining one of my favorite characters, finale. Here's a list of shows that ended a lot better than our good friend Adventure Time. Here's a list of episodes that would have made better finales than Come Along With Me. Overall, as finales go, this gets a low 4 out of 10. Thanks for watching, go watch Come Along With Me and bloody enjoy it. I don't really care.